What's up, everybody? My name is Herby, and you're watching Fierce, Fabulous, and Free! How's it going, everybody? My name is Herby Moore, and first and foremost, before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of you for liking our page Fierce, Fabulous, and Free. My first episode is going to be covering the 7 signs of addiction. So, speaking of addiction, what is it? How do we know if we're addicted to something? How do I know if I'm addicted to something? So today I'll be covering 7, that's right, 7 signs of severe addiction. If you know anyone that may be suffering from these symptoms, or you, feel free to contact us on the page, DM me, or contact info@amad.org. That's info@amad.org. info@amaad.org. Bow. The first sign of addiction is obsessiveness. So when you're obsessed about something, basically, it's something that you're always thinking about, something that is consuming most of your time. For me, when I was in college, I was obsessed with fast food. I would think about fast food. I would dream about fast food. I ate fast food. I liked fast food. I loved fast food. Second sign of addiction is tolerance. When I was in college, like I said, I liked fast food. And when I was eating it every other day, I would get a tummy ache and I would break out, and it really wasn't good. But as I kept eating fast food on a regular basis, my body began to become tolerable. It was like, okay, maybe a burger and fries. Now burger and fries in a shake. Okay, and now burgers, fries in a shake with extra nuggets. And that's how addiction can roll over into a snowball effect. One puff a day becomes 2 puffs a day to becoming 5 puffs a day. And it usually begins as a habit. The third sign of addiction is change in interest. So when I was consuming a lot of fast food, what I failed to realize is that a lot of the things that I was interested in was no longer interesting. Like, for instance, I would stop playing sports. I stopped hanging out with my friends. I was a couch potato. Eventually, it became to the point where my friends actually started calling to see if I was okay. Which I was in my mind, but I didn't realize that a lot of the activities and things that I enjoyed, I stopped paying interest to them. And it was just simply because I was consuming something that I was addicted to. The fourth sign of addiction is secrecy. Secrecy is big, especially in the LGBTQAI world. We live in a world of secrecy. So it's no different when it comes to drugs or alcohol or, in my case, fast food. When we're battling something that we don't necessarily want people to know, we tend to keep silent about it. And silence is the #1 killer for our generation. And it wasn't until I was able to express my addiction or able to talk about these things, like I'm talking to you all, where I found freedom in that and liberation. Many of you may not know this, but I was addicted to drugs. PCP was my drug of choice back when I was in school. And the reason why I did that was to overcome anxiety, depression, stress. It wasn't until I shared my story with people I was able to be liberated. And so it's the same for you guys. Denial. This one is a tricky one because even though it may be one of the signs in addiction, it is also one of the signs in the recovery process. When we are addicted to something, we negotiate with our well-being and say that, oh, I'm fine. Oh, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong with me. Oh, it's just 1 puff or it's just 1 sip. It's not gonna hurt. In that pattern, we begin to deny that there is a problem. I know in college, when I was eating fast food like every single day of the week, even though I was breaking out and even though I was looking bloated, I denied myself by saying, oh, I'm fine. I started saying things to myself like, oh, well, if I get fast food now, I can go back to the library and study. I don't have time to cook. What am I gonna do? Then I have to go buy the food and cook it and prepare it, and I just don't wanna do all that. And at that time, what I failed to realize, I was really psyching myself out by thinking that there wasn't a problem, but there really was. The next sign of addiction is withdrawal. When we begin to go into the climactic part of addiction, there is a decline in withdrawing from, like I said, our interests. Like mine was sports. I stopped playing sports. I stopped hanging out with friends. In battling addiction, whether it's drugs, alcohol, relationships, sex, we tend to go more like this because we don't want no one to know our secret. We say, I don't want you to know what I'm going through. I don't want you, no. That can create isolation, which can trigger things like depression, anxiety, even suicide. And last but not least, reverting. This is usually the stage where we begin to become aware of our addiction and we are looking for help. Because of the tugging situation with addiction, it can be a push and pull dynamic. And so what we're dealing with is my mentality wants to stop this addiction, but my body is craving this substance. And it was the same with me with fast food. Once I realized that, okay, Herby, you might have a problem, I then tried to seize myself cold turkey. I tried to stop fast food. I was like, I'm not looking at it ever again. However, when I was driving, I would see, oh, there's a burger. Okay, and they got the 2-for-1 combo. Man, those fries look really good on that poster. And so that triggered my obsessiveness into thinking those fries look good. I wonder what they taste like. You know, there's 2-for-1. I may just get a couple. And then there I go. This is when addiction is in full effect. So what has become a habit has now become an addiction, because now we're battling something that our mind doesn't want, but our body is craving. So in that, how do we fight this addiction? What do we do? So I'll tell you next time. If you know anyone that may be struggling with addiction or substance abuse, please feel free to add them onto our page, Fierce, Fabulous, and Free. I will be giving tips later on the recovery process and how to seek help. Also, if you're not aware, the Ep1 Institute is starting their weekly wellness. Each week we'll be having a plethora of activities to do, whether it's getting fit, watching movies, and even yoga. And guess what? It's free, baby. Because if you paying, I'm staying. So feel free to like their page, go on to ep1institute.org and learn about the different events that they're having. Also, I don't know about you, but rent is due in a couple of weeks and I would like some more money. The Ep1 Institute is also having their Recovery Ambassador program, so that way you can be a recovery ambassador and help the citizens of LA. If you're interested, please go on to www.epod.org. And plus, once you complete the classes, you win $500. But don't tell them that I told you that. So once again, my name is Herby. Thank you so much for being part of Fierce, Fabulous, and Free. And I'll talk to you soon. Mwah.
Oh, you guy!